Good morning, everyone. Today we've got several things we're going to go over. Several really important things. Not very exciting because it's hard to get excited about some of the stuff going on nowadays. But this morning we've got. Oh, excuse me. This morning we're going to have Shelley Fauth. She's going to join us and share a little bit of her story with us. We're going to get into a little bit of the Charlottesville 32 and the Charlottesville lawsuit and the fundraising for that. And then after that, Ty Freedom is going to come back and join us. And we're going to go over some of the new sex scandals and the prevalence of perverts in politics for a little Wednesday morning fun. So we'll talk about that. I want to give you guys a little update on the North Korean soldier that we talked about last week that defected and was shot 3 times while crossing over. So he's been in multiple surgeries. We'll give a little quick update on that. And we'll go over some other social and political issues as you see fit and bring them up. So, good morning, everyone. And we are going to bring in Shelley. Let me find her. There she is. There she is. Good morning, Shelley. How are you? Good, good. Did you find a good spot there to pull off? Good. It's not as easy in the country, right? You know, the service isn't the same. The places to pull over aren't as abundant. Well, I love I saw earlier when you first came in, called in on Skype, and I love the pin that you're wearing today. Can you show us that? Mr. Lavoy Finnicum. And I know you wear that proudly close to your heart. I know you wear that often, if not always. So tell us, with that being said, tell us a little bit, if you would, how did you come to be a part of this giant nationwide family, this movement that we call the Patriot movement, the Constitution movement? How did you get involved in all this? Hang on one, hang on 1 second, Shelley. I'm sorry. I'm being told that you have no sound, no audio, and I see your audio here, and I don't want anybody to miss what you're saying. How about now? No, they still say no sound on her. I hear you. You're not muted. Try it again. Give us a. Okay, I tell you what. Why don't I'm gonna hang up with you on Skype and call you right back. Okay. Well, you guys, I can see her sound on my equalizer here. Can you guys hear the phone, the ringing? We'll try it now. We'll give it a minute. It takes just a minute for the lag, for the delay, before I can see the comments. Give it a test. Can you hear her now? Unbelievable. They say no. I've never had this happen on standby. Let me try one real quick because I don't want to let you go. Oh my God. Really? You have that problem a lot? She says nobody can hear. Nobody listens to her. Let me give it a shot here. Try now, Shelley. We got No volume, low volume, barely. They're saying barely. Yeah, now they're saying she's there, but very quiet. Man, it might be volume on your side. I don't see why volume on your side would affect it. Doesn't change it for me. See if it changes it for anyone else. They're saying low. They're asking if your volume is up. Ah, freaking technology. I'm telling you. Drives me nuts. Try now. For me, you're just on your phone. I hear you just fine. I've got no problems. All right, let's try something. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna go into, yeah, most people don't hear you at all. Why don't you do this if you could? I know you're sitting on the side of the road. Do you have your munchkins with you? Okay. Uh, okay, really quick then. I'll hang up with you. Try, it might be the app on your phone. So I'll hang up with you. I'm gonna go into the first story. Just close the app and actually maybe even shut your phone off, turn it back on, and then call and then Skype me back, and I'll just pick you up whenever we're in the middle of talking about other stuff. Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll have her try earbuds if that doesn't work. Take off your headphones, Franny. I don't know why that didn't work. That's the first time I've ever had that happen. So let's get into some of the stories today. So first off, here's something I gotta share with you. Since we'll start off a little light. So this is interesting. So when you pull up Google and you put in news, like what are the top, Google news stories right now, right? It's funny you come up with this. You got okay, a Zimbabwe story. UK regulator has huge concerns over Uber breach. All right, three missing naval aircraft. That I hadn't heard about. That's a new one. Um, you've got Trump, Lebanon, USA Gymnastics, North Korea slams US over terror sponsor designation, Android phones. But then you go to Facebook and you go to their trending news, and this is just for a little Wednesday morning laugh. Like, come on, you guys, we got to realize Facebook is not this is not where real life presides. So this is actually a decent article. This net neutrality, but whoa, let me find you here. Okay, so on the Facebook side, you've got here. I'll show you the Google side. So Google side, you've got USA Gymnastics, North Korea slams the U.S. Virginia study shows parasite from Vietnam might be killing us. Trump defending more, three missing naval aircraft. But like I said, you go to Facebook and you've got this is a decent article. But as these start to go down, you've got crowned Jordan Fisher crowned Dancing with the Stars, season 25, mirror ball champion. Who cares? Trump all but endorses Roy Moore. No, not actually, not at all what he said. Um, Disney Pixar head John Lasseter takes leave of absence after missteps. That one I don't know anything about. So these articles, the way they line up with the news, I was just kind of laughing a little bit this morning because they just don't line up. Um, what I want to talk to you about though really quick is net neutrality. If any of you, here we go. So if you've heard the new talk, the FCC is talking about getting rid of. Good morning, Kelly, Billy, Brian, whatever Facebook wants you to hear. Yeah. So the FCC is revisiting net neutrality. So a lot of you probably don't know what it is. I don't know all of the intricacies about it. I don't want to know all of it. You probably don't want to know all of it either. Here's the big thing to know right now that I that I can take from it. Excuse me. I didn't bring up my water this morning. Um, so the big thing with net neutrality is that if net neutrality goes away, there's the fear or the concern, the very real concern that your ISP provider then decides and determines what you can access and what you can't access on the internet. So Verizon or God, I don't know, what do we have here? Comcast or whoever's your ISP provider can then direct what you can and can't. Hey Kim, uh, can direct what you can access and what you can't. So there's some mixed emotions on that, but they're talking about killing it. December 14th is when they're going to talk about it. Let's get into this a little bit. So the tech people are very disappointed. Um, but the problem is that by completely separating politics and the tech community, now we've got an internet that is that the internet we see like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. Now they're censoring on their end because of the laws that are still in place in the Communications Decency Act. But this net neutrality kept things. I don't know. What do you guys know about net neutrality, or what do you think about it? Um, Let me find there was one good section in here that really kind of described it a little bit better. So this gentleman, this is Senator Schatz. So this is a guy that is he's saying that it's more or less a done deal. He's saying that no matter what they try, they feel like it's going to go away. And he says, my point of view, and by the way, I had this point of view when it was President Obama and Tom Wheeler, to the chagrin of my progressive friends, is that we should legislate. He said, I took his comment to mean it would have been unpopular in 2014 to embark on a parallel track to moot an effort endorsed by the president. Now he's talking about the president's effort to push net neutrality. That may be the one good thing out of maybe two that president did and accomplished, in my opinion. Yep, Brian's right. That's what it is. It's control of the web. So it's control of what information. I mean, we talk about the information war all the time, right? We talk about the information war in the media. We talk about it in print, in social media, in digital media, and the internet is the mother lode of information, right? So if you can control, you might not be able to control what information is out there, but if you can control what information gets seen by people or gets seen by some people or certain people or the people that you at least can control, then again you have control of the information, right? Um, Da, da, da. So they're saying the bill is a ways off, but the fact that they're talking about it right now is something that I think that I wanted to bring it up now because it just came up, and it's something that we need to keep an eye on and pay attention to, and reach out to our senators when we have that point in time. Um, So they just started with the bill. It's going to change. It's going to come and go. A lot of the legislation, it's just now getting to kind of the Republican committee. So anyway, keep your eye on that. Do a little research. If you see any articles or hear anything, take note of learning a little bit more about net neutrality. So, Brian says, of course, they want to legislate. Exactly. And they want more legislate, right? More government. Government's got to control it. I mean, God forbid the people can't do it. I mean, they're just too stupid. They're too stupid. Of course, we can't do it. As soon as it's legislated, the door is open to assume all control of data. And that is the ultimate fear. That's the ultimate give up. And Brian's exactly right. Da, da, da. Talk about ball the racist. I was just going to go into that, Kelly. I was just going to go into that. So let's do that. Let's switch gears here. This guy. Oh, you can't see that yet. Let's find where he is. Where did he go? I know I had him here. So this father, as soon as I find the post here, this is my lack of organization this morning. So Mr. Ball, Father of the Year, Karen says, I know it's off point, but it's still censorship. I'm sorry, I must have missed what the comment was. Yeah, no, oh, I see, Karen. Yeah, she says, I know the left can post whatever I approve posts and the advertising has semi-porn or how that's okay. Yeah, it's well, there's always two sides. So let's find this because this is hilarious. Did you guys think about well, it's not hilarious. Did you guys think about this censorship issue? And oh, Kelly, I didn't know it was with BLM. I hadn't seen any information about that. 15 minutes of fame. Brian, I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I feel about it. I think the guy sees an opportunity. He's taken a cue from Colin Kaepernick. It's like, it's okay to protest. Like, we get it. Colin, I get it. Right? Protest. Totally, you're right. The problem is you have to also take the responsibility knowing that it's just like free speech. It's any kind of free speech. It's knowing that when you speak, there are repercussions. I won't say consequences, but there are repercussions. There's reactions, right? And there's always going to be those reactions. Ooh, we were just about to get into them. We'll see if Shelley's here and see if you guys can hear her. Hello, Shelley. I'm going to see if the people can hear you. Can y'all hear Shelley now this time? Bueller. We were just getting into talk. We were just starting to talk about Ball. I can't remember his first name. That guy, um, the dad of the UCLA basketball players, the one basketball player that Trump got him released. You know what I'm talking about? Can you hear me, Shelley? Shelley. Oh, we lost service, I think. Man, having a hell of a time today. We'll see when Shelley comes back. Could you guys hear her at all? No? Unbelievable. Okay, here we go, Mr. Ball. So, this guy, this guy, I don't know if her Bluetooth's on. She's just using her. I know now she froze. She's just using her phone. I haven't had any issues with it. Um, but let's take a good look at this dude. So I think we all know what happened, right? Tell me if you can hear him. Really? It's got to be on my end then. Well, Shelley, I think it looks like I just played another video and they've got no audio on the video. So it looks like it's my software's end, which means I'm not going to be able to do anything else that I need to do for the rest of this show until I probably shut down and start over. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm going to check one more thing here. Nope, everything's turned on. Okay, so this is going to be the worst. This is going to be the worst Wednesday ever, but and you're working, huh? Okay. No. No, they can hear me, but not you, and they can't hear the audio coming through the desktop for the videos, which means it's on my end. So Everybody, I apologize. This is the plan. Here's what we're gonna do now that everybody's coming online because Shelly's on. See, Shelly comes on and everybody just, I'm telling you, the numbers just start going up. It's like that must send a new notification. Oh, you think it's my head? She thinks it's. Let's try that. Can you guys hear her now? Say hi, Shelly.
Can you hear me? Hi.
We'll try it. Have it. They're saying have her write notes and hold them up to the camera. No, her story's a little too.
I'm gonna tell my story through flashcards like everyone else does.
Right. Yeah. You remember that was a fad that went on for a while. Wait, you can hear her now? Shut up. Are you serious? You can hear her now? Are you kidding? They can hear you now. Okay. It was. I don't know. There's something up with my headphones or my headphone jack. So, all right. Here we are. Cool. So she's back. All right. Now let me get this. Now let me get back on track here. Holy cow. Okay. So what I was saying earlier when Shelly called, and we'll get back to Mr. Ball. Don't worry. What I was saying earlier. Good morning, Shelly. How are you?
Yeah, I was talking about Mr. Ball yesterday myself.
Oh yeah.
Amazing individual that he is.
I think that personally, I think that's what he's after. He likes this. Everybody's talking about him. He thinks he's just he couldn't be cool. He couldn't be cool on his own right. So he tried to be cool through his son, and then when his son went screwed up, now he's just got to take the limelight. But whatever. Enough about. He's not anywhere near as important as what we got going on. So, like you showed people earlier, your pin there of Lavoy Finnicum, and they didn't hear anything from you. So tell us, if you would, how did you get involved in the movement? How did you come to be here today with me?
Patriot community. Okay. So, my mom is Jeanette's sister. Jeanette's Lavoy's wife. So, and I'm on the
Yeah, I can see you fine.
Okay, so when this happened with the Hammonds, where, for those who don't know, they were charged as domestic terrorists for when they burned their grass. The the wind changed direction, and the firehead went partially on the government's land. So they were charged as domestic terrorists. The judge that was charging them had given Dwight Hammond and Steve time served. I think it was like 6 months, and then the other person was 3 months, and that was kind of the end of it. Another judge had come in and picked it up and said, no, that you can't do that because the minimum sentence on this was 5 years. So this is partially why we speak out against minimum sentencing, because the sentencing really should fit the person and not just the crime. There's people that have never been in trouble, and here they're spending 5 years in prison for the same person who's done it 3 or 4 times. So, outside that, that's why my uncle had got involved with the Hammonds, and he felt like Mr. Hammond was the same age as his father, and for 5 years in prison, that was a life sentencing for someone of his age. So that's where my uncle kind of came in and started really standing up. And then, often reporters would come to him and say, what is your outlook on this? And he was very knowledgeable when it came to the Constitution. And he didn't just say, because it's not fair and he's an older man. He didn't say that. He had facts and the Constitution and natural rights to back up what he was saying. So that's kind of how he became more spotlight to the media, and eventually became the spokesman for the people that he was standing with. So on January 26th, and I'm just saying this for people who aren't aware of who Lavoy is.
Yeah,
on January 26th, 2016, they were on their way to Dade County in Oregon to meet with the sheriff. This was after 21 days of being at the refuge, and pretty much protesting against, their intent was to stay there until they freed the Hammond. So they were on the way to Dade County to meet with the sheriff. There was several carloads that were going. They were leaving in 10 to 15-minute increments of each other for their own protection. And they noticed that the Jeep that was behind them, and this is on YouTube, this is from the federal drones as well as from cell phone footage, the Jeep that was following them that should have been quite a good distance behind them, which was Buddha's Jeep and his security. It was following a lot closer than expected. And we found out later on that McDonald, I believe his last name is, he was an informant, and he was the one driving that Jeep, and he was supposed to be Buddha's security for this day. In the vehicle with my uncle was only supposed to be Ryan Payne, Ryan Bundy, and my uncle. Shauna Cox was there because the videographer that was supposed to be there that day didn't show. Victoria Sharp was there because she wasn't quite ready to leave the refuge when her family was, so my uncle offered that she could ride with them. I do believe everything happens for a reason, and I hate that these women had to see what had happened, but Victoria's statement had a lot to do with this becoming as public as it did, as quick as it did. So they were on their way to Dade County, and they had done what, at the time, they had called a typical routine traffic stop. My uncle had told them, we're going to meet the sheriff, you're more than welcome to follow us, and they left. When they left, the police began shooting actually at that point. But about 1.5 miles up, there was an L-shaped kill stop. And for those who don't know what that is, that's two vehicles in a diagonal position and one center, almost like an arrow. So my uncle had an option. Either he went through the vehicles, he went to the left, or he went to the right. He chose to go to the left, and at this time in Oregon, there's several feet of snow on the ground. So he went towards the left where there's the most cushion of snow. And he got out, and he had put his hands in the air, and he said, okay, shoot me, and they did. And there's some stuff I can't really say too much because I know they still open a lawsuit for my aunt. But, as far as what's public knowledge, there's actually only one person as of right now that has been indicted for it, and it's more of hiding evidence than it was what actually the actual shooting of it. But we know that there was 3 different individuals who had went back at some point and had hid evidence. My uncle was killed at 4:30 in the afternoon, and he had laid face down in the snow until after midnight. Victoria, so Victoria, she begged to help because she was EMT, and obviously, for those who have seen the video, you know that there's no way they could have got out of the vehicle at that point. They continued shooting the vehicle for a good 6 to 8 minutes after they had killed my uncle. But Victoria was brave enough afterwards to not only speak out about this, but actually what had happened was she was the only one that they couldn't hold. So they called her mom, and it was a one-way in, one-way out where my uncle was killed, and her mom was already on the other side. So then they took her back towards the refuge.
Right.
And so they had let her call her mom, and her mom had, they told her, you can come get her. We're going to drop her off at a McDonald's. Well, they actually ended up dropping her off at a Safeway, which is similar to Food Lion, for those who don't know what Safeway is.
Yeah.
And they dropped her off with no way to get in touch with anybody, no way to get in touch with her mom. And eventually, Miss Hammond is actually the one that came and got her. And they took her to another location, and she had recorded what had happened. And I always say this, I give it to her because she was very detailed, and I don't know as an adult that I can remember those details. And she had, a week prior had turned 18. And she was very detailed and very specific on what had happened.
Yeah, she was very young when that happened.
Murder is how I actually got into the patriot community.
Okay.
And how and I had I always had like the love for the country, but I didn't always have the courage. But going to my uncle's funeral, Actually, we had hid Shauna and Victoria within our family, and they had sat right next to me, and we had discussed some things, and just listening to them and having my 10-month-old at the time sit on my lap, it just kind of clicked for me of why my uncle was doing what he was doing. It wasn't for himself; it was for his kids, it was for future generations, and so that kind of is what gave me the courage to stand up and start speaking out about things.
Wow, that's obviously, like we all know, goes without saying, it's a horrible, and I mean, it'll go down in our history, in American history, as, in my opinion, as one of the worst days of tyranny, of the government attacking its own people. So I'm, as much as I pass on, I know all of we've talked several times, but our condolences and our prayers and all the time for Lavoy and his entire family. I met Jeanette when I was in Las Vegas at the stand event on April 15th when, we were there. Met Jeanette and a lot of other folks that were affected by the families there. And I tell you, I'm glad that you're here. I hate to even think about the circumstances that brought any of us to this point, but especially you and your family. So always love to Lavoy, American hero, great man. But I am glad you're here.
Thanks.
And with you being here now, so you got involved, or you became involved. you became around the family, around the movement. Crazy, incredible, eclectic, intelligent, emotional, passionate, wonderful group of people across the entire nation involved in this movement. And we're like any family, like any family, we're just a much bigger family. We've got our issues, we've got our squabbles in between us all, but what happened when, so now we transition to the Charlottesville 32 and the Charlottesville lawsuit. You remember that day, that point in time when you were sitting there, like you said, with your daughter on your lap, and you were thinking, this is what you felt it. I mean, I know that feeling because I've been there, and a lot of us that are people that are watching, a lot of us that have been out this summer, they know that feeling when you just realize, like, this isn't a choice, this is an obligation.
Right.
So what happened that brought your attention to or got you involved with the Charlottesville situation, the Charlottesville 32, and how did that resonate with you after still living through this ordeal with your uncle and your family?
Okay, sorry, I lost you for a second.
It's okay. You're back.
Okay, so the way I got involved with the Charlottesville 32, I actually seen on Rob Cap's live feed that day what was going on, and so that's how I kind of got.
Come on back, Shelley. Of course, the whole time I'm talking, her feed is just fine, and then when it's time for her to talk, we get put on hold. Joseph says, I saw what happened in the videos and it was murder by the police. Sorry for what happened to you and your family. I hope your family keeps fighting for the proper justice. You guys deserve it. Yeah, Joseph, I'm sure the video that you're talking about, I wish I had it queued up here while we were pausing with Shelley in the meantime, but when he first drove into that bank, you can see in the video, oh, she's back. You can see, I'll just address in Joseph's question. You can see in the video the two rounds, one particularly that comes through the roof. And you see that one, and then when Lavoy steps out, I don't know that this is, in my opinion, it's confirmed, because from what my experiences with law enforcement, with military, and with firearms, and not only that, but with people's body language and seeing people injured and how they react, when he stepped out, and there was the officer that was at the rear of the truck that supposedly or reportedly fired a non-lethal round, an impact round, a rubber bullet or a beanbag round of some kind, but most likely a rubber bullet. But the way that Lavoy was, there's a difference between reaching and guarding. And when someone's injured, they guard. And guarding entails not only reaching with your hand, but also the body language. And if you watch that video back and you see Lavoy's body language, you see him kind of crunch a little bit to that side as he leans over and he's looking down. Someone that's drawing for a weapon doesn't, especially someone that carries that weapon in a place like that where they always carry it. You don't have to look to draw, okay? Now, I know Shelley's back on, and I know I'm detracting from her answer right now, but Shelley, I'm sorry, I was addressing a question by one of the followers or one of the viewers, and so I was just giving my opinion. This is not on Shelley or the family's behalf. This is just my opinion coming from 14 years of medical experience, coming from military law enforcement background, coming from just general knowledge. My personal opinion is that when you see him reach, the combination of reaching, looking, and guarding to that side with his body tells me that there's an injury there, and he's checking to see if it's how bad the injury is, because your brain doesn't know at that point if you've been penetrated by a round or just impacted by a round. So anyway, that's my soapbox on that. Shelley's.
Let you finish for 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish what you're saying then.
Okay. So and as you see that he puts his hands up. He's talking to them. I'm assuming he's, whatever he's saying, you can hear some of it in the video from the backseat of the car. That's taken from the backseat of the car. But in my opinion, that's what happened. There was at least one, if not two, sniper rounds that entered the truck either as it was entering the snowbank or right after it entered the snowbank. So anyway, the body language is the important part. That's the thing that really picked up on me, or I picked up on, was that body language when he came out. And it's that first guy that's at the base of the truck, and as soon as he takes a crouching shooting position, and then what appears to be fires around from a shoulder-fired weapon, then he backs away quick. Now, that's also, again, body language. Again, we're talking about law enforcement. If you know general practices of law enforcement, you know that this is, if you have in your hands, especially like that, a non-lethal weapon. And, of course, they knew he was armed. Their typical law enforcement action, they're going to approach it like an armed individual, like anybody else, that they're going to be wary of. But if he has a shotgun loaded with a non-lethal round, that is what a person would do. They would get into a firing position. They would discharge that weapon to try to reduce the threat or neutralize the threat, and then they leave instantly because they don't have their lethal force drawn. So they have to back out so that they can protect themselves or someone else can protect them. So in my opinion, when you see that guy come up to the back of the truck, take a crouched shooting position, appear to fire a round, and immediately leave, those actions are consistent with a law enforcement officer that's firing a less than lethal round. Then when you see Lavoy's reaction, it is consistent with a person that feels an injury, not consistent with a person that is drawing a firearm. That's my biggest issue and my biggest complaint with this, is that these are professional law enforcement officers. And they have training. They have training on reading body language, and they have experience more so than I do. They see people injured. They've seen people shot with rubber bullets before. They know the types of reaction. In my opinion, this was an extreme mistake by completely overzealous, borderline tyrannical law enforcement at the very best. At the very best. I mean, if you give them the absolute utmost leeway. And at the worst, this was a murder by our government. So we've got Shelley back. That was my soapbox. Sorry about that, Shelley. I went off on a little tangent there for the question, but
Sorry, I had something else going on too, so I'm sorry about that. So back to Charlottesville 32. So I had heard about it when I had seen Rob's 5 feet. Is how I initially had heard about Charlottesville 32. And my mom asked me if I see what's going on in Charlottesville, and that's how I initially seen it. Then when I went to DC, I ran into George, which I had spoken to George previously, but I had never met George. So I anybody seen our live feed last night, George, made that kind of public how we had spoken. He had want to silence people who are wanting to do nothing but good for the country. In those situations, my uncle wanted to help the country. He wanted to help ranchers. George in the 32, you guys wanted to, help, the community. He wanted to help keep everybody safe. And in those situations, it was like the good was looked down on. And, we talked about this before, as a whole about, the times of tribulations and how evil is good and good is evil, and that's really how I feel about it is that the things that are good, they weren't there to protest or counter-protest. They weren't paid to be there. The other parties that were there, that's kind of, how it was. They had a point to be there, and our sole point, the 32 being there, was simply to help protect the individuals that were there that day. So, but that's how I kind of got involved. It's George, and I found out George is part of the 32. Most people know that my boyfriend is one of the 32, and I know several of the 32 personally. At the time, I didn't know that all those individuals were part of the 32, but pretty quickly I found out that who was, part of the 32, and obviously that made it even more reason why I wanted to help. Like I said, I see the similarities with things that happen in Oregon, the infringements on our rights, and I know the potentials of what can happen if the lawsuit is not won.
Well, that's the key, and that's what we've been talking about. That's what we've been talking about a lot. I know you and I have talked on the phone. I know you and George have talked. George and I have talked. We've done a lot of these, and that's what it really comes down to is the implications in the long run. So, I wasn't even fully sure exactly how it came to be that you were, I guess, with us or involved with the process in the Charlottesville 32 and the lawsuit. And you've actually taken a really big endeavor on. With this raffle, and because we've been trying to do fundraising because we all know that this is going to be, we expect minimum 30 to 50 grand in lawyer fees, probably upwards of maybe close to 80 to 100 by the time this is all done, and could be more. It just depends where it goes. So you've been working on a lot of the fundraising. Will you tell us about? We talked about the raffle before, but I talked about it, but I want to hear about it from your perspective because you put a lot more time into it and you know like where it's at right now. So tell us where we're at with that.
Okay, so the raffle, it is 2 handmade knives by 2 locals near me, actually, in Winston, North Carolina. So a man named John Cochran is actually the one who made the knives, and then there was another gentleman who made the sheaths.
Hey, Shelley.
And all this is available as far as what they look like. They're on my Facebook. So there's one person who made the sheaths, and they have Seville 32 on there. The knives were made by John Cochran, and he, with the people on one side of the knife, and then Seville 32 on the other side of the knife. And then with that, they're going to get a shadow box, and Matt McGregor made the shadow box. He also etched the 32 patch in the glass. For those who don't know, they actually were delivered Monday, and they were broken in the mail, both of them. So he is working on them right now as we speak. He's redoing them, and he is personally driving them up here from Georgia to hand deliver them to ensure that they get here on before the 1st. And then with the shadow box, you also get a certificate of authenticity, as well as all 32 signatures are going to, there's a picture of the patch, and then all 32 original signatures are on that page as well. So it's, in my opinion, it's probably a $1,500 to $2,000 package, and you can get it with a raffle ticket of $5. So there's some people who have bought 10, 20 raffle tickets. There's some people who bought 40. There's some people who only bought 5. But every bit does help. And like you said, the retainer right now that we have on a lawyer is between $20,000 and $50,000. I mean, if you put that in perspective, that's like most people's salary for a year.
Right. It's just gonna go from there. Hey, I think we've got some pretty poor service. I know we're getting a lot of reverberation and feedback from your phone. I don't know if your volume is on your phone. I can hear the reverberation in the background, but I'm having a hell of a time with this. And I know you're out in the country, so I know sometimes the service is kind of crappy too. But I can hear my voice in the background. But I want to say, so Shelley was saying, so if any of you missed that, so she's saying that this package, this shadow box, the glass is etched in the same the same shape or the same design, right, as the patch, right?
Yes.
And this is, and there's going to be a picture there, and like she said, signed by all 32 of the Charlottesville 32 that were there that day. And she's estimating $1,500 to $2,000 for this package. I mean, this is, the knives are, I looked at them and I talked to him and made them. The knives are beautiful. They're handmade, and the sheaths are incredible, and they have the CV32 on them. I mean, these are going to be, I don't think I'm allowed to buy a raffle ticket. I wish I could buy a bunch of raffle tickets. But they're $5 for a raffle ticket. And to kind of add into the fun, we've made this like a north and a south thing. Or not we, but this came from Robert Kapp and y'all, you guys that have done this before. And made it into a north and south deal where it's a little bit of fun. It's back and forth. It's a little Civil War. They banter back and forth. They do like dueling videos, to raise money. So there's a knife and a sheath for the north and a knife and a sheath for the south. And those Facebook pages are, what are they, Shelley? Do you recall their South raffle?
And those links are on my page. But right now, so the north is at 121 and the south at 241. So we're beating them right now by 120 tickets.
Who's ahead, the south or the north?
The south's ahead, 120 tickets.
All right. I'm gonna pull up the South's raffle for Charlottesville page and just show people here real quick. So you guys check it out. It's the Facebook pages are called the South's raffle for Charlottesville 32 and the North's raffle for Charlottesville 32. Check them out. You can see videos of the knives. You can see the sheaths and get some more information on those. And buy. You can see there where to buy a raffle ticket. There's also the connection or the links to donate to the Defense Fund. And Shelley, I know that you've got work there to do, and we have been back and forth this morning. I've got to get to Ty. We're going to come back. When is the raffle ending? Tell us when's that ending. How much time do we have?
It ends December 1st at 7 p.m.
This
so
ends December.
9 days left for the raffle.
Okay, so it ends December 1st at 7 p.m. You said?
Yes.
Okay, so how about can you and I get back together? We'll try this again with a little better sound, but also for an update. How about Monday?
Say that one more time.
How about Monday? Can you and I get back together like this Monday, same time, about 9:15, or about the same time on Monday morning, and get an update on the raffle?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay,
if anybody wants to look at my page, I'll look on there. So.
Okay, so you can check it out at the Charlottesville 32 page. There'll be links there. You can go to Shelley Fauth's page. You can see her name there. Just search her on Facebook. You can go to her page, or go to the South's raffle for Charlottesville 32 or the North's raffle for Charlottesville 32. Check those out. And Shelley, it'll just be quick on Monday. We'll come back together like 10, 15 minutes, do a little quick update, and see how things are going. So thank you for coming on today. I know you've got a lot of stuff going, and you're putting a lot of effort, and we really, really greatly appreciate it. Okay, talk to you soon. Okay, folks, that was Shelley Fauth and her uncle Lavoy Finnicum. We all know the story, we all remember, and so it was great for her to get involved in Charlottesville 32, and of course her boyfriend was with us, so that's good. So I don't know what was going on with her volume. I don't know if it was her being on speaker, like Brian's saying, or Kelly was saying the reception. So I apologize for that. Let's do Ty, if you're out there, give me a ring. Well, we'll know when Ty comes in on Skype. We'll know if if it was me or if it was Shelley's feed. So this is where. So we'll wait for Ty to get back. So good morning, Chastity. Good morning, Kathy. You guys, we will get. There's Ty. We'll see if we get Ty on here and see if we've got the same issue or not, or if we can move on with things. Good morning, Ty. How you doing, brother? Can you hear me, bud? I think everything is against me today. Ty, you there?
What's going on? How you doing?
Hey, hang on just a second. Let me see if I can get this to... I think I got software issues this morning. I can hear you, but let's see if the people can hear you. Now you can't hear me? Are you kidding me? Everybody else can hear me. You can't. This is like the Twilight Zone. Good morning, Chastity. Kelly, Bella, help me out here. Ty, can you hear me at all?
I can hear you. Well, I can hear you through Facebook because I've got my earbud in watching the live feed, but I can't actually hear you on the iPad I'm Skyping from.
Are you kidding? You know what? This is what we're gonna do. Kelly can hear me. I can hear you. I'm telling you, there's a problem with this software. I don't even care because the stuff that we're gonna go over, the stuff that you and I are gonna go over with the perverts in politics, the pervasiveness of perverts in politics, and go over some other stuff. I want to make sure that everybody can hear it. So I'm gonna shut this down. I'm gonna stop this recording. I'm gonna reset the software. And I'm gonna come back up. It's gonna take like 10 minutes, but oh, of course, you could hear us both now. Right now, it's perfect timing. We'll give Ty one more shot, otherwise I gotta restart it. And in the meantime, I'm gonna pull up all the pervert articles.
Are you there?
I can hear you. Can you hear me yet?
Yeah, man, I can't hear a word you're saying.
Okay, that's what we're gonna do then. There's software issues here. Gotta be. So I wanna make sure that everybody can hear us, what we're doing, what we're gonna go over today, because it is kind of important stuff. Even though we're only gonna put in.
We'll just play it by ear. I can hear you. It might be a little delayed. I can't hear you through the Skype. Awesome.
Yeah, that's weird. And you can't hear me, and I can't see you. So that's what happens. That's why, dude, I think really, I think that we just reboot. As long as you don't plug in your earbuds, we can hear you both. Yeah, but when I don't plug in my earbuds, then he can't hear me. Everybody can hear us both, but you can't hear me and I can't see you. So let's just, we're gonna reboot. We're gonna reset. This is a Zuck and a software.
Yeah, Francis.
David, I'm running.
Delayed.
What's that?
You're hearing me.
Yeah. Do you still have?
Hearing me about 40 seconds, 50 seconds later.
Okay, I'm running OBS software, by the way, David. Ty, do you have time? Can we take just three minutes here, 4 minutes, and reset this? Ty, I'm gonna assume that was a yes. All right, folks, this is gonna be good stuff. So just if you can, give me a few minutes, be ready to share it back out, and we'll reboot. We'll come right back on.